Hello, Taylor. Lovely to see you in person. In Brisbane, you are the beautiful free land of Queensland, as it is at the moment.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. We haven't had to wear masks for a while, so it's been quite nice. But I mean, I feel like Queenslanders have no idea what it's been like for Melbourne and New South Wales, so I'm going to keep my lips sealed.
Well, it's okay. We're happy that you've been out and about, particularly because you've probably been able to play some gigs here and there.
Yes, I have been very lucky. It's been actually quite a busy year. Obviously, a few lockdowns, but not as many as other states. So, therefore, Queensland acts have been able to do a few more shows, which has been really nice.
Yeah. So you're more match fit, I guess, than some of the artists in other states. You're being too polite to say. Now you are the most streamed Australian female country artist in 2021. The last time I checked. Ain't No Girly Girl is now closing in on 2 million streams, and I checked that this morning. It's up to 1.9 something million. What's it like seeing a number like that next to a song of yours?
Oh, it's crazy. I can't believe it. I remember, even just at the beginning of 2020, and I was looking at my numbers on Spotify. It was like 70,000. And I started with my management. They're like, "What's your goal?" And I was like, "I'd like to, maybe get 250,000 streams on a song." And yeah, Ain't No Girly Girl kind of hit it off, and it's been amazing. So seeing those numbers seriously still blows my mind.
So obviously, in that, given the size of our population, you'd have to know there are people from overseas in those numbers. So do you have any sense of how people find out about you and your music?
Yeah, so obviously Spotify has been a huge support of me. I've been very lucky. I've got a great distribution company, and they pitch us a playlist, and then Spotify decide whether they're going to put it on playlists, I guess. So I'm lucky that I have been one of the artists they have put on those playlists, but it's actually got lots of playlisting and streams in the US. So almost, I think 40% of my streams all over my singles have come out of the US.
So I guess, obviously at the moment you cannot think about going to the United States to do anything, but does that start to shift your thinking around your plans to know something
Absolutely. Yeah, I've actually been to Nashville 6 times.
like
I
that?
love Nashville, Tennessee, and I cannot wait to go back. So I am hoping as soon as the borders open, and particularly international borders, I will go back to Nashville, even if it's just for like a little bit of a working holiday for a month, write some songs, show my face, go to a honky tonk bar, have a couple of beers. That makes me very happy.
I'm pretty sure country music artists can't have a holiday in Nashville just because, invariably it's going to involve some work, but it does sound like it's fun work.
Oh, look, if you do what you love for a living, it's never a job. It's never work.
That's true. Now, your other songs also have really healthy streaming numbers. If anyone wants to go on Spotify and have a look, they'll see the digits next to the song titles. Does that kind of success make you think differently about how you release music and what kind of music you release? So you're not necessarily thinking about radio, you're thinking about streaming.
Yeah, look, it's really tough. I mean, radio, you need to get radio play, obviously, in Australia. It helps with festivals and charting and stuff like that. But if we are talking specifically about streaming, it's really hard now as an independent artist or an artist that's not under a label to release an album, because what happens is if you release an album, they have like a focus track every couple of months. And it's just way too expensive. So me being independent, I just keep releasing singles so that when it comes out, Spotify's like, "Cool, is this the only thing?" And then they focus on just that one.
Yeah, it's something that I guess a lot of artists have had to learn quickly, because for so long albums were the way to go. Not even EPs were sort of falling by the wayside, but now I'm seeing more EPs being released, or even uh, releases that might have 7 or 8 tracks on classified as EPs, which I find interesting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And look, I'm definitely going to do that. Hopefully, in the next 12 months, I'll release an EP or an album. But for now, I'm just going to keep punching out singles every 3 months because I write a lot.
Right.
Like, I've probably written 3 songs in the last 3 weeks.
So that's interesting. You were saying like a single every 3 months. So obviously you have a plan. You have a schedule.
I definitely have a plan. I'm a very organized human being. My
Right.
Google Calendar is very full. My brain is always processing information 24/7.
And how do you store? I'm always interested in the nuts and bolts of songwriting and storing the songs. Do you have like a folder on your computer, or do you write things in a notebook, like a list of the songs that you've written? How do you do your account keeping basically for songs?
It's literally voice memos and notes on your phone. So I will think of a metaphor, an idea, or something will happen in my life where I'm like, that would be good to write a song about. Thank you very much. That's my phone is just, if you opened up my phone and had a look at my list of notes, you'd be like, what is this girl on about?
Yeah, I think the notes and voice memo function on the iPhone has contributed to far more songs that Apple probably knows about, because they come up a lot as tools.
Definitely. And it's just easy because when does someone not have their phone on them?
True, absolutely. Now, your latest single is Get It Girl, and it is a tribute to the role of friendship in your life and friendships amongst women in general. So you just said how you start to note down ideas for songs. So did that start off as a little spark of an idea in a note?
Yeah. The reason why I wrote this song, it's got a little bit of story behind it. So my best friend is also a singer. Her name's Alice. She's incredibly an amazing songwriter. And her and I hadn't seen each other for years. She was living in Nashville. She moved back to Australia. We met up and we kind of just like sat in my car and exchanged songs that we'd written the last few years and saying how much we missed each other and how much we want to be back in each other's lives. And, let's not go years again because that was stupid, And then I said to her, I was like, I've got this idea on my phone and I want to write a song called Get It Girl. And I want to write a song called Get It Girl because I always say to my girlfriends, like, get it, girl, but also only girls seem to get it. So I wanted to have that double meaning. And I was like, what a perfect person to write it with, one of my beautiful best friends. We wrote it pretty much within like an hour. We just smashed it. And, I feel like the title, people probably think it's going to be like this real like poppy, like girl power song, which it is, but the meaning behind it's a lot deeper than that. Your friends can be sitting in the front row cheering you on and being your cheerleader, but also, picking you up off the bathroom floor when you're crying over a boy being heartbroken. Like they're there no matter what.
Yeah. So given the ease with which that was written between the two of you, are you thinking of writing more songs together?
Oh, we've written like 12 songs together. Like I have a list. I feel like every single in the next year is just going to be Taylor and Alice co-written.
Right. And how lovely to discover that after being apart for so long, that you can have that energy working between you so easily.
Yeah, she knows me way too well that she'll ring me and be like, so I had this dream or I thought about this idea and I'm going to write a song, about you, to you, for you.
Well, it's a compliment, obviously. So now another song you released earlier this year was You Ain't Getting a Song, which was about a person who's not worthy of a song being written about them. And it made me wonder about how you do decide on what's worth writing a song about. So you just mentioned you keep some notes with ideas. Are there some people or subjects who you think may make a great song and then you start to write the song and you think, actually, no?
Not really. I feel like honesty is key. If it's the truth, well, if it wasn't the truth, it's going to work. It's country music.
Yeah, right. So with that one, obviously there's a specific person in mind, but it has universal application, I think. A lot
Definitely.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a song about not getting a song, but it is a song. So he got a song in the end. I just thought it was really funny. Like, there's an actual story behind it. I tell it at my live shows. I'm like, so I was dating this guy, and when I broke up with him, he was like, "Can you promise me something?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Please don't write a song about me." And I'm like, "Mate, you dated a songwriter. That's not my bloody problem."
Yeah, fair game.
And then I finish singing the song, and I say, and when he texts me and says, "Is that song about me?" I'm just going to flick him the Spotify link to You're So Vain.
Because that's the song that came to mind when I first heard it. I was like, it's a modern companion piece to You're So Vain. Yeah. Yes. So and all of those songs, I've got to say, part of what's so great about your music is it is really catchy, but there are other layers of meaning within the song. So you can put it on as like a party song or a background song, but if people want to listen, then the lyrics do have some meaning. But I think it's actually quite a fine balance to achieve that as a songwriter, where you can keep the entertainment in mind and make it meaningful. So is that something that you actually strive to do?
Definitely, definitely. All I want to be is relatable. I'm a human. I, suffer myself from feeling down some days or feeling really good. And I just want to write. I'm a very honest person. I want my songs to be honest too, because then I'm not, yeah, people will understand me, and that's all I want. And if I'm on stage and you're sitting in front watching me, just because I'm on stage, it doesn't make me any different to you in front of me. We're all humans. We all feel the same thing. We all experience life the exact same way. I just happen to have a microphone in my hand and sing on stage because, well, it's what I like to do.
Yeah. I'm sure you've had moments though when someone's come up to you after a show and said, that song could be about me. And that must be really satisfying when that happens.
Oh, yeah, ain't no girly girl. I have girls come up to me regularly going, that song was written for me, or that song's about me. And I'm like, I love that. I love it. And then my response is, get it, girl.
There you go. Now, you mentioned going to Nashville, and actually that was going to be my next question, but you've already talked about it. But I did see you talk about it on a short documentary that I found that you made in 2014. So it was talking about Nashville then. So obviously you did start quite a while ago. You said you made 6 visits. And in that same documentary, you mentioned that you went into a few talent quests starting in childhood. Do you remember your first one?
Yep.
How old were you?
I was 6.
Right.
And I played piano and I sang, actually no, I did 2 songs. I did Atomic Kitten, the Tide is High, like the Atomic Kitten version. And I also played Scar by Missy Higgins on the piano.
That was the clip I saw. Yes, you playing Scar. So at the age of 6, was this something that you said, to your parents, I want to do this? Or was there anything in your family where people were already performing and you thought, all right, I'll just do what they're doing? How did you at that age even think to do it?
Oh, I knew like straight away from a child, like people would come up to me and say, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm going to be a singer. Right. I'm going to be famous, I used to say when I was a kid. Way too much confidence at 6. It's kind of hilarious. But yes, but my mum was actually in a stage show. So I'm from Ulladulla, which is 3 hours south of Sydney. And my mum was in a stage show called The Entertainers. And she used to sing, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Shania. She used to sing These Boots Are Made for Walking. And I used to sit in the rehearsals with the dancers, and my mum was the lead singer. And I would sit on the stage and like watch her. And for years I was like, I'm going to be the front lady of the Entertainers when I'm older. In Ulladulla. I never got to because we ended up leaving Ulladulla. Right. But watching my mum and doing that was kind of like, it was super inspiring.
Yeah, right. It would be. And also how cool, like to look at your mum and think, wow, she's a star.
Oh, and the other thing too is like my mum, she's so beautiful. Like I used to sit on the stage and she'd be all glammed up in these most gorgeous outfits, and everyone loved my mum. She was like like the princess of Ulladulla. That's kind of how I explain it.
And, sorry, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, I pretty much grew up watching that, and then I knew that's what I wanted to do.
But even still, at the age of 6, because I played piano around that age, but I certainly wasn't good enough at 6 to play any of the talent quest. So what age did you start playing piano and singing for that matter?
I was like 6.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I was literally playing it for a couple of months before I did my first talent quest. Wow. And then I'm left-handed, and mum and dad I wanted to learn guitar. So they took me to guitar lessons, but they bought me a left-handed guitar, and I couldn't play. I couldn't.
Oh, right.
So I write left, but I'm actually a right-handed guitarist. So I didn't actually pick up a guitar again until I was 12. Mm-hmm. So I tried to learn at 6, but I hated it. But it makes sense because I'm fully ambidextrous, and I couldn't pick it up left at all.
Yeah, and I suppose, on piano it doesn't matter. So it's not as if that would have revealed itself earlier when you were playing piano.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. So I play guitar now. That's pretty much my main instrument. My piano is sitting here and I do play it every day, but I actually haven't got on the stage with the piano for a long time, but hopefully I will incorporate that into my live set at some point. Bring it back.
Yes. And I'm guessing then that you tend to write on guitar.
I actually write more on piano than guitar.
There you go.
Yeah, fun fact. Fun fact. I feel like playing guitar has just become a little bit of a workhorse, whereas playing the piano is a little bit more inspiring.
Yeah, interesting. Do you find it? Be playing like singing along with piano is a bit harder than singing along with guitar because there's a lot going on a piano keyboard. But clearly, for you, whatever channels in your brain are working when you're writing a song, that the act of pressing the keys is better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Everything sounds like more dramatic and sad when you're on a piano.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Like, sassier lyrics and get away with it.
Yeah, I think maybe Tori Amos has something to do with that. She, inspired a whole generation of young women playing piano and singing to be a bit dramatic, maybe. Now, I was also reading that you're partly inspired to start playing guitar by your late uncle, and he died suddenly several years ago, and he had encouraged you musically. What influence does he continue to have, I guess, on your development as a musician?
Um, yeah, so the night before he passed away, he actually taught me to play guitar on a right-handed guitar. So that's actually when I picked it back up again. And yeah, that he passed away the next day in a car accident, and I picked up my guitar and sat in my bedroom for 2 weeks straight and learnt and actually played at his funeral. So his funeral was my first gig.
Right.
Yeah. Wild, like my first gig, yeah, on a guitar. So, yeah, every day I just inspire to be better, and he was my biggest fan. And I know that whenever I do something, I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing this because I want to make Corey proud.
Yeah.
And I'm a living human, and I'm here, and I know that's what he would want.
Yeah. And obviously, you apply yourself diligently as well. So I'm sure he would be proud of you. Now, you mentioned performing Scar by Missy Higgins, and I saw the clip of you doing that when you were a little person in a talent quest. So it sounds as though your earliest musical leanings were not country music. Therefore, I'm wondering at which stage you moved towards country music.
Yeah, I grew up listening to country music. So I grew up listening to oh no.
It happens.
Someone's call me. Someone's trying to FaceTime me at a laptop. I'm so sorry.
It's quite okay. This is the modern life we're in. We go with the flow.
Actually, my best friend.
Oh.
She's probably one who I wrote Getica with. She's trying to FaceTime me. She's probably got a song idea. I'm not kidding. That's the only time she FaceTimes me is when she's on her piano and she's like, I've got this idea. What do you think?
Well, the issue with that, of course, is that it's really urgent because she's got the idea right there. And she's probably thinking, I need to talk to her immediately. What is she doing?
That's okay. No, I grew up listening to country music. I was totally obsessed with Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and Keith Urban. They were my three favorite artists, and I know like every album. Mum and Dad used to put it on repeat. But when it came to obviously when I was learning, I guess I would in Talent Quest I would play what my teachers would teach me. And Scar at the time was a very influential song in Australia, being an Australian country artist. I mean, Australian pop artist, pop indie. I'm not really sure what you would say Missy is.
I think that song's really catchy, so therefore we could call it pop. Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like particularly, in a town where I guess country music probably wasn't that huge in Ulladulla, so therefore you got to be strategic. You got to do songs that people like, and that's how you win the judges over.
That's true.
It was only when I started doing country music was when I moved to Noosa, and I was close to Gympie. So that's when I did the Gympie Muster Talent Quest and the Urban Country Music Festival. So when I was 14, I won Urban Country Music Festival Talent Quest, and that was kind of like my in to country.
Yeah, right. How wild at 14 to do that. I mean, there are a lot of great young artists within country music, so it doesn't surprise me actually. But for you as a young artist, did it feel like a bit of pressure, almost like, oh, I've won this competition and now I really have to do something?
Yeah, I was the new girl to town. Like, I hadn't done anything country until I was 14. Like, as in, I hadn't actually entered the country scene per se. I was in a little town in Ulladulla doing Talent Quest, but I wasn't around. So yeah, I moved straight to Noosa and then entered the Urban Country Music Festival, and I won it my first year entering it, which was really, really cool. So that, yeah, I was the new girl in town, and I've never left the country scene since. So they stuck with me in that moment. Cheryl Burns was the judge, who's one of the ladies in Tamworth.
Yes, I think she's, if I'm correct about the Cheryl, she's on the Capital News. I think that's
Yes.
what. Yes, yeah.
Cheryl was the judge, and she came up to me and she was just like, "Where have you been? Who are you?" And then I think I did Star Maker like a couple of years later.
And you were a finalist in Star Maker too. So clearly, given the talent quest, entering that, the competitive environment suits you.
Yeah, I haven't done one for a while. I don't know if I will. I mean, I might enter. Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think, some people's personalities are suited to competitions that can really sharpen their edges and make them better performers, because they're feeling that sense of having to impress an audience. And for other people, it would just be overwhelming. But for you, it seems like you really did. Even, I'm sure you were nervous, but obviously it helped forge you as an artist.
Yeah, and I think thriving under pressure comes growth as well.
Yeah. So given that you are in Queensland, you have been playing some shows over the past couple of years, I would think you haven't been able to get to other parts of the country. So for 2022, are you starting to look further afield and make some plans?
Yes, yes. So I actually left the state for the first time in 18 months 3 weeks ago. I went to Tasmania, my first time there, and I did a show with the Wolf Brothers, which was really, really cool. I'm doing my last original show this Sunday with the Wolf Brothers as well. And then next year, I've already locked in. I've got a couple of shows in Melbourne. I've got Gippsland Country Music Festival, another show in Tassie, going to South Australia. I mean, I also have a trip to Bali paid for that I was meant to go to 2 years ago. So let's hope I can actually get to go there too.
Yes, or they'll give you a voucher to go somewhere else that you might wish to go.
Yeah.
And obviously the songwriting continues. So when you are playing a lot of shows on a run and you are going to different places, do you have to sort of put different habits in place so that you can continue to be creative in and around that, continue to write songs, think about recording, all those sorts of things?
Yeah, I guess so. If I am on the road and I'm busy with shows, I don't really have time to actually be creative. It's a lot harder. But in saying that though, I mean, a moment happens when a moment happens. Like if an idea pops into my head, I'll put it in my notes and I'll make sure I document as much information as I can while it's there before it disappears again. And then when I get home, I'll work on it. So it is hard to be creative on the road, but I mean, I may have to learn to be a little bit more if things do start to get busier. Yeah. So it all comes down to time management.
Yes. Well, it sounds like given your Google Calendar management, your time management is under control. But I think we should end this now so you can see what your friend was FaceTiming you about, because it may be a new song in the offing. Who knows?
New song, and then I'll have to be like, Sophie, I wrote this song just after we got off Zoom.
Well, Taylor, it was absolutely lovely to talk to you. And now that I know your release schedule, I know when to look forward to new music. So that's a very handy tip for me and for your other fans.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, there'll be a new one out, I think, in March, April.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you so much.